Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You are the greatest dad of all time, just ask you. No, I'm not going to.
No, I'm the great Estad. I think that's Spanish for father. Hey, senor, I am the greatest Estad.
Yeah, it doesn't work for me.
No? Okay.
No, not at all.
Well, here we are. We survived episode 5.0. Well, at least I did, anyway.
We did. We all got laid. We had a rusty nail, and as you can see, we have not yet finished cleaning up.
You know, what kind of a guy am I to make sure that everybody at my birthday party got laid?
I know. It was just like you walked in the door, you got laid, and I mean, there was the temptation to just go home then.
Yes. What need say no more?
I stuck around because we had to record an episode, and damn it, we had to have a drink.
And damn it, we will again today.
Okay then.
And you know the abuse that we copped during the first 5 episodes from one particular fan?
The mild abuse?
Mild abuse. It was very mild abuse. It's that we talked too much at the beginning and take too long to get to the drink.
Okay, well in that case, son of a bitch, pour me a drink.
I shall. But first, let me give a little shout out to the wonderful Decanter. How's that?
Hacienda 5-0.
Hacienda 5-0. With love from the Peachies. Thank you to the Peachies.
Fabulous.
For such a wonderful decanter. Now, I'm not going to tell you what's in the decanter, although you can see it is a amber fluid.
It's a beautiful colour.
I'm going to take this to the lab later as a sample. After we try it.
Yeah, okay then. I hope it's not that kind of sample.
Yes, sorry sir, but you are disqualified from the Olympics.
I didn't realise you qualified in the first place.
Well, I thought if I at least put that in, I could say, well, I would have qualified, but... Oh, sorry, yes. Now, what's in here? This is not cold, so this is room temperature. Would you like ice cubes for this magnificent... I will tell you, it is a scotch.
Oh, it's a scotch and it's apparently magnificent. So
it is a single malt.
Single malt.
From the highlands.
From the highlands.
And it is the cleanest, clearest water that any scotch can be made of.
So you're dropping me hints there.
Let's test
Qballs. And
I
think I might be picking up what you're putting down.
Are you picking up what I'm putting down?
I could be.
What do you think? Take a guess.
I'm thinking there could be some horses in this one.
Yes.
I do believe that might be a Dalwhinnie.
I think we're on a winner.
We're on a winning.
It could be a Dalwhinnie. So if this was a single malt Dalwhinnie from the Highlands, it is a scotch.
See, I'm getting more and more excited as we speak.
Would like ice cubes in our...
No.
Since I am old, we thought we'd go old school with old school glasses.
Just a classic tumbler.
The Hague, the Ballantines, the VAT 69.
VAT 69, still one of the
Whichever way you take it, it's still 69.
It's still a good scotch.
It's still a good, and the Long John.
Good scotch for a Scotch and Coke. I mean, obviously, it's not one that you would enjoy neat. But for a Scotch and Coke, VAT 69 is great. I mean, it was a first pour behind many bars for probably 20 years. And that speaks volumes in itself, even though it's considered to be quite cheap and nasty.
We're still back at the VAT 69, correct? Yes.
Oh, that's what we were discussing.
Okay, yeah, just checking.
Yes.
However, the Dalwhinnie is not quite the same.
Absolutely not.
So you're going...
a different ballpark altogether. I will have
ice.
this one neat.
I'm going to have mine with one rock.
You rock on, my brother. Now, of course, we did discuss the camera angle so that when he got the ice, he wouldn't have to turn his back to the fridge, but he wouldn't listen to me.
No, I thought they wanted to see...
Back to the camera.
My best side.
It's a good side.
So apparently. So, Double says something else. We've talked about plugs before. We'll save that for another episode.
Look, it's smooth glass. There wouldn't be a problem. Apparently.
I'm pouring this straight from the decanter. No shots. This is just a measure of generosity because
a good,
this is
solid measure.
Yes. I don't pour that much for most people, I'll tell you right now.
I am honoured, as always, to share the spoils and... Oh, that's a glorious fragrance.
For a minute there I thought he was going to do what he did one of the other episodes and just start banging it back without cheersing me.
TV.
Today we'll keep it simple and focus on the dimple. Did you just drink without cheersing me?
Oh, I feel rather bad about that. I'm conscious of that now.
Once bitten, twice
It was
shy.
look. It was something that good that I didn't want to wait.
So let's get on with the drinking first, so that Stephen Clare, this is the fastest we've ever got to having a drink. Okay, just for you, brother.
Cheers, my
Cheers, clink. No poison fell into your cup?
friend. No, none whatsoever, unless it was already in there. I can live with that.
Yes.
Sometimes the lights go out. Doesn't mean there's nobody
Right.
home.
But the beauty of today's episode, though, is if one of our camera goes out, like it did in one of the, was it episode 4, we had a lot of technical problems. Editing, that was a nightmare, I assure you.
Well, that's why I leave
However,
it to you.
we do have today with us the one and only videographer today. We are now officially a team of 3. Two to
Does
get
that
to
mean we
drink.
should pour him a drink?
Hell no.
Okay, then.
Yeah, I just have to do all the work. I don't get any of the drinks.
Yeah, you're allowed to hear him. He's going to be like this imaginary person. You can hear him. You got to see him in episode 5. You don't get to see him again, but you'll hear him because he'll throw in some glib commentary from the background, from the cheap seats,
Indeed.
and handle all our technical issues. Anyway, welcome aboard, Mitchell.
Thanks.
Buildmyweb.com.au
For all your website needs.
and your video editing. Anyway, now back to the Dalwhinnie.
That is absolutely magnificent. And you know, if my senses are not failing me, that is not your standard Dalwhinnie.
Your spidey senses?
Well, parts of me are tingling because that is damn good.
Oh, I thought it was
That is
because you were
damn
near
good.
me. However, I do have the container which it came in, so here we go.
Aha! The
It is
15-year-old.
Not
version.
any old Dalwhinnie. It is a 15-year-old Dalwhinnie.
Fantastic.
Have a look at that bad boy. Oh, the videographer wants to reach and come ahead. Let him have it. The hand. Yeah, we'll wait till he focuses. We'll talk to this camera while he focuses on that camera, then we'll zing back to that camera so you get that in zoom there. The
Hi.
15-year-old Dalwhinnie.
Look, I mean, obviously, you know, having it neat and seeing how that goes on the palate, you know, it's. I'm thinking with that little bit of coolness that the rocks would bring, would soften it quite nicely. But I'm actually thinking that perhaps just a slight dash of water in that would actually release a lot more.
So are you suggesting you'd like a...
I forgot to suggest that we have some water on standby. Unless you have some in the refrigerator.
Yeah. Well, actually, this time that camera, if we don't have inside fridge cam, we've got outside fridge camera looking into the fridge so you can see. And like any good bartender, do we have water? No, highly doubt it.
Hell no, H2O.
Hell no, H2O. Hell no, H2O. However, I'm sure while we're doing this, our videographer will also double as the waiter.
Well, only if you ask him nicely. As you can hear, the door is in
Please.
action, which means he's
Bang.
off to get me some water.
Yes.
But that is spectacular.
Yeah.
There's some sweetness on the nose, and there's a beautiful, glorious warmth in that, and it's just soft and subtle, and almost a hint of caramel or honey there.
So,
Nice sweetness.
yeah, it once again, part of the Diageo.
Part of the Diageo family. I don't know if they actually own the distillery, or whether there is simply an importation.
Like a
For
shot
them.
of water, would you like a little?
Oh, just a tiniest little dash, perhaps a half nip. Why not?
I'll measure
considering as it was
I'll
a-
measure the water, but not the whiskey.
It was a very generous dram,
Yes, it was.
and chilled water.
Chilled water, absolutely. So yeah, so the Diageo, because they do own numerous brands now, they're like a big player.
Very big player. They are pretty much the spirit giant of the world. Much as I think it's Anheuser Brewhouse is the beer giant of the world.
Yes, Anheuser-Busch.
Oh well, yeah, that works too.
Yes. Not related to the George Bush family. However, you know, interesting, 43% alcohol volume, yet it doesn't have I want to say a strong alcohol. It's just so smooth. I found like when I tried this the
It's
very
beautiful.
first time, it was just like phenomenal. It didn't sting like, you know, get some of the very high alcohol.
Alcohol.
Sorry, off with the fur. Yeah, that it didn't burn. It didn't even have that slightest
Yeah.
tinge. It was just so. The first
Yeah.
time I had a sip of it, as you can see, there's still some left.
Yeah,
This
and
was
just-
a birthday bottle.
Just to elaborate on that, you know, the warmth that you get when you consume a spirit neat is a good indicator of its alcoholic content. If you don't look at the bottle beforehand, if it's got a lot of warmth to it, there's generally more alcohol.
Yeah, very. The gentle spirit it is referred to as.
The gentle spirit.
All hail the gentle spirit.
Perhaps even a gentleman's spirit.
Well, I would suggest so. Yeah. So I'm impressed. I'm thinking it is a. What sort of price range are we talking here? Do you know what sort of price tag in Australian dollars we'd be looking at?
For the 15, I mean, I know the standard...
I just want to see how much someone spent on me for my birthday.
Look, I know having looked it up for a customer the other day, I must admit, the standard Dalwhinnie, which is a non-age specified, possibly a 12, comes in around the $90 to $100 mark, depending on where you're shopping. So for the 15, I'd say you'd probably be jumping up towards the 130, perhaps even 150 mark.
Wow. Thank you to the real Aidan Parker for such a generous gift of the Dalwhinnie 15-year-old. Thought I better give him a shout out then, since he's the one who bought it for me.
It's only fair.
Yes.
It's only fair.
Very much appreciated. A magnificent drop. So yeah, it's it'd be up there as one of the finest scotches I've personally tried. Mind you, I don't have the vast experience with scotches as some other people do. But for me, it is top of the wazza for what I've tried, and I can see why. I could just drink that neat all night long.
It is absolutely beautiful. There's no denying that. Now, something that we were discussing before we went on air. At the end of this month, the last weekend in April of 2016, there is a wonderful event taking place in Perth, Western Australia called Whisky Live. If you want a chance to try some absolutely sensational whiskies, whiskylive.com/Perth. And you can check out tickets and bookings for that one. I believe there's something in the vicinity of 40 plus different whiskies that you can try and potentially buy through different stall holders. That's a great event for you to get involved in if you want to really open up your mind when it comes to whiskies.
Whisky Live. Not to be confused with the Whisky A Go-Go.
Correct.
I'm not sure if there'll be exotic dancers at Whisky Live.
I'm not even sure if they had them at the Go-Go.
Do they?
I mean, they may have had go-go dancers, but they're not necessarily exotic. The Whisky A Go-Go, a bar in Los Angeles, which, especially back in the late 60s, early 70s, if you got yourself a gig at the Whisky, then you knew you were on the way.
You had made it.
And let's face it, if you're drinking whiskey, then you're well and truly on your way to enjoying the finer things in life.
Yes, you're on your way to a gong.
Oh, look, the addition of water into that has, as I said, just softened it off ever so nicely.
Which raises the question, what does the water do to the scotch or the whiskey?
Look, slight dilution alters the temperature, which again, releases more aromas and in some cases more flavour. Some whiskies are actually distilled with that in mind, wherein there's some that are absolutely sensational to drink neat. There are others that are better suited to drinking on the rocks or with a dash of water, perhaps even. You want to go seriously old school, whiskey and soda.
Whiskey and soda, yes.
If you want some bubbles in your whiskey.
I happen to do that every now and then. Once I've had a few, if I want to just slow her down, I just put a bit of soda water into my
whiskey.
whiskey.
Only a few?
Yeah, I'm not a big drinker, you know me.
Look, as I think we've touched on before, the addition of water or iced tea whiskey, obviously, dilution, reducing the alcohol content slightly, and helping to keep you hydrated somewhat. There are some that argue that you should only put a small amount of ice in your drinks. There's others that say have a lot, because it will dilute more, especially with something that's perhaps a bit cheaper and a bit harsher.
Right. So, yeah, because I traditionally would probably put a lot of ice in my glass, but actually the other day having just a nip with a friend, and you only put one ice cube in it, and it was actually, I reckon it tastes better, so that's why I've just decided to go for the one ice cube today.
Absolutely.
It's.
I mean, as you will have noticed. I mean, I don't know if you want to take that for a bit of a close-up. We haven't been. It hasn't been in there for long, but it's melted quite quickly, and obviously the dilution process is taking place as it melts. And you can see there's a nice bit of condensation on the glass there as well. So obviously it's
right here
cooling off. And even if you look at, still the difference in the colouring there.
Yes, I think I've had too much salt in my diet.
A bit more cloudy.
Too much salt in my diet for sure. I think Professor Somnaviller, whatever his name was, would be impressed with our science here, wouldn't he?
Oh, an absolute genius, Professor Julius Somnaviller.
Somnaviller,
Look
that's
his
him.
stuff up. There's probably something there on YouTube.
Yes.
Scientific Australian genius.
Yes. Didn't he do the
magnificent.
Cadbury's commercials?
He did some Cadbury's commercials for
Yes.
putting a hard-boiled egg into a milk bottle.
Yes, and I'm kind of like a Cadbury guy when it comes to drinking.
Just a glass and a half and that'll do you?
A glass and a half and I'm full. Yes.
I've noticed.
Yeah. Full of shit.
That's why we only have one drink when we record.
Yes, yes. Thanks for making
That and I have to drive home after.
Yes, yes. And once again, drinking responsibly and that yada yada. And
That is splendid.
Yes, it is, absolutely. So, anything else you can share with us about the Dalwhinnie or Haig?
Look, it's not one that I've actually researched a heck of a lot myself, but you know, we can always touch on that again in a later episode. Perhaps come back to a different vintage and give the good folks at home a little more information on that one.
It is from the Inverness Shire in Scotland, though. And actually, my buddy Aidan, who got me this bottle, actually is a bit of. We should get him on the show one day. He's a devout Scotch and whiskey connoisseur as well, like yourself.
Fabulous.
And he was sort of sharing with me that it's from the Highlands, it's a Highland single malt, but the water that they use is the clearest, cleanest water possible, which is what gives it such a smooth taste. And makes it such a fine bottle is just the quality of the water that they used in the distillery process.
Absolutely. I mean, it's something that's been one that we've touched on before. Sullivan's Cove from Tasmania. You know, they also use some very, very high-grade natural spring water, which is, as they say, contributes to the quality of their whiskey as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
shall we rate?
Yes, and we must thank Travis.
Yes, Travis pointed out via the YouTube comments that we neglected to give a score on the George Dickel in episode
We didn't
1.
rate Qball's Dickel.
I'm sure there's probably someone out there that would like to make a comment about that, but please don't.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So, anyway, let's rate Qball's George Dickel Tennessee mash that he brought in from episode 1. It's belated, but we're going to rate it. It's belated, but we're going to rate it.
I can't actually. I did actually comment on the video again the other day, and I can't even remember what I said. But
I think it was a 9 point something you gave it.
It's definitely a high 9, possibly even a low 10 for me, because it is such a fantastic value for money drop in that sort of $50 price range. It's a great little quaffing whiskey. So there you go.
He's getting Snapchats while in the middle of an episode.
I know.
And I rated it at 8.7 something or something like that.
Yes.
But it's on there. I'll put the official numbers up here. We have rated it on episode 1's comments on our YouTube channel. So thank you very much, Travis, for pointing that out to us. I really appreciate it. Yeah, good pickup on that part. Now, let's rate the Dalwhinnie.
The Dalwhinnie 15-year-old, for me, just absolutely sensational. As we said, you know, you're stepping up into a reasonable price point there around the sort of $130 to $150 mark. And all that aside, I mean, it's like I try not to take price into consideration a lot, unless, like I've said with the Dickel and with the Johnny Green, how fantastic value for money it is. By the same token, even in that price point, still incredible value for money, because there are other whiskies, you know, that are almost as good, but you'll actually pay a lot more for them. But even so, I'm actually going to give this I'm going to go 10.18, just to give it that additional little bit.
10.18.
You know, because I think that is just absolutely sensational for a 15-year-old single malt.
And you know what? As I said, it's probably the finest one. I have had a Glenmorangie. I can't remember what there was a little name on it as well.
Yes.
And that was right up there with this. So I'm looking forward. We'll get a Glenmorangie up here. I just like saying Glenmorangie. Glenmorangie. I love. And
I've got one of them.
The Dalwhinnie. This Dalwhinnie 15-year-old Highland single malt Scotch whiskey gets a stunning 10.23 from the Prophet.
Well, there you go. He's
And
rated it better than me.
Oh, absolutely. I had to go one better than you. What are you, 10.1?
0.3 better than me.
You said
0.5, sorry.
10.18?
10.18.
Here we go. And 10.23, which is a 20.41, which would be a 10.205 as correct.
And that would then make this our highest rated whiskey so far.
Congratulations to Diageo and the Dalwhinnie for getting the highest rating on Blues Brothers TV in 6 episodes. Yeah, I mean that's
It's still young, but you know,
that's
hey,
you gotta
you've
put that
made it.
shit up on your mantle, Dalwhinnie. You know, hey, if you're
We're
not,
number one after
Hey.
6 episodes.
hey, if you're watching this, you guys, you best be putting this episode up there, and you be framing something, a picture from this. Hang on, we'll just take this. So you can take a still. Use that. Put that up on your website. Through the roof.
Hell, put it as a screensaver. Use that as your cover pic.
On Facebook, yeah, on your Facebook page. If that's not up in your cover pick of the next week, I'll be disappointed.
Oh well.
Yes, we gave it a best shot anyway.
Yeah, well, they'll probably disappoint us. I mean, let's face it, we're not famous. We don't want to be.
We're kind of famous.
Well, I think I am.
Well, I know I'm kind of
And
famous.
I think you are.
Yeah. I think you do all right too, so yes.
See, it took him a minute, but he got there. Thank you, mate. It's a warmish day today, I must admit.
She's a muggy day at the hacienda. I was just trying to get some extra whiskey out of that, but just sweating it out.
No, that's last night's whiskey.
Okay. Anyway, so I think we could just about call that episode a wrap, I think, eh?
Well, why not?
Yes, because...
We're not going to rap, but
No.
we'll call it a rap.
Oh, I could rap if you like.
No, please don't.
You sure?
Yeah.
I could rip out the message.
Grandmaster not so flash.
Yes. Grandmaster willing to flash. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The Furious 5.
Oh my.
We actually do have a live studio audience. You can probably zoom in at the people bellying up at the bar if you like there, Mr. Videographer. Little panoramic shot again for crowd cam.
Well, I don't know, belly up at the bar, belly up in the pool.
Yes. It's a tough day. It's a
just the
tough
way
day
it
at the
is.
hacienda. You know, while we're out here sweating our asses off, providing a public service, they're all sitting in the pool drinking.
Well, look, I could think of worse ways to sweat it out on a Sunday.
Absolutely. And now you know we film on Sundays.
Well, we are today.
Anyway.
On that
So,
note,
yes. As we like to end every episode, I think we shall say, pour me a drink!
son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch!
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
Oh my god, that was so good. You think we'd almost let the videographer have a sip of that?
I want to bathe in it. I really do.
And that is not something I want to see.